Me just being a guy from Hilo, right? Just being a guy from the Big Island, that can hit this card. And I tell everybody, man, it can happen to anybody at any time, anywhere.
Hi, I'm Cassidy. I'm here with Alt, and we have Kai on. We are talking about his incredible Lamine Yamal cards that he has up live in Alt auctions right now. And tell us about who you are as a collector. How did you get into it?
So as a collector, I've always collected cards since the late 80s and 90s, the wax era. Baseball and football was my main thing. My kids, my two sons, love soccer. Everything about the sport of soccer. They don't like collecting cards, however. But I've always bought them cards for years, and I just bought them soccer cards. And up until recently, they got me into buying soccer cards, and my very first box is how I got that name.
So what was that feeling when you opened that first box of soccer cards?
My kids told me to buy soccer, and it's the first time they ever told me, right? I'm like, oh, are you guys sure? And they told me, no, Dad, there's this kid, Lamine Yamal, and he's 16 years old, and he's playing in the Euro Cups, and we're watching it, and then they showed me who this kid was, and he scored on France. I was like, oh wow, man, I gotta buy these cards. But right now I'm in Arkansas. I'm at a fishing lodge on the White River fishing for brown trout at night. And there's absolutely zero sports card places anywhere in town. So I called around in Missouri, in Springfield, and I found one shop. It's about 3.5 hours away. I was like, oh man, that's kind of too far. Let me look on eBay. So I looked on eBay, and I told myself, okay, you know what? If I'm going to go and get this guy, I'm just going to get the best card I can find. So there's this number 25 Dragon Edition auto of Lamine. So I started bidding on it, and the whole time I'm taking pictures. This is the first time I'm bidding anything big on eBay, and I'm taking pictures and I'm posting on my Facebook. Like, okay, here we go, coming down to the wire. It's at 2,500. Then he goes to 35, and I'm constantly bidding. We're going back and forth. One time I even didn't enter. It's like, you've been outbidded. Like, you've been outbidded. Like, So, and then it was going down all the way to the wire. There was like 3 seconds left, and the bid was at $4,900. I'm like, that's it. I'm going 53. And I went 53, and I went to get enter, and it said it was over. I was like, no, I lost the card. And this whole time I'm posting on it. I'm like on Facebook posting it, taking pictures. And so then the next day I decided to go drive to the guy's shop. So yeah, well, I'll go over there. He said he has a box where it's a Donruss box, and the kid's in it. It's center field in Springfield, Missouri. And he's a shop that's been there for like 41 years. So like he couldn't find the case of Donruss that he was at. He was like, well, why don't you just give me your name and number and I'll give you a call. And I was like, no, I'm not going to drive back 3 hours. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll buy other boxes. I'll open it. And I'll buy some baseball. And when you find it, I'll buy a box and I'll open it in here. So the last second, he goes, well, I can't find it. I was like, well, I tell you what, let me buy another box. And if you keep looking, I'll buy another box. He said, okay. So he sold another box. And he looks down. And says, oh, here it is. Well, he was there the whole time. He just wanted me to buy some boxes. So he opens a case. And I usually like to pick my box out. I just go, hey, let me get this. And he goes, oh, no, just take this one. Go ahead and take it. I'm opening it up. I was like, I know nothing about soccer. All I know is I'm looking for this kid, and then I'm going to the cards, and then now I start complaining to him. I was like, man, there's like nothing in here. I'm not getting any numbers or no autos or anything. And then the next card down, he goes, oh, there's a black one. That one should be numbered. So I didn't even look who it was. I just saw black, and I turned it around. I was like, whoa, 1 of 1. Oh, awesome. I turned it back around. I was like, whoa, it's him. It's the kid. It's the kid I'm looking for. I was like, 1 of 1. I've never put a 1 of 1 before. And then that's where the story starts getting crazy, right? Because on that day, that was my first 1 of 1. But now I'm excited. I say, oh man, hey, give me this other box. Give me this other box. So he gives me this other box. And now, it's his baseball. But I ended up putting 2 more 1 of 1s. I put a gold super refractor Jeff Bagwell 1 of 1 auto from the Topps Chrome, and I was like, "Whoa! Look, my second 1 of 1." Right? So then I ended up driving home, and now I just think that I'm on a heater now, right? I'm just ecstatic. Well, I can't believe I put 2 1 of 1s. So I wait 2 days, and then now I'm just kind of still looking at that card. I'm like, man, this is Lamine 1 of 1. It's like, man, I gotta go back. I gotta get more boxes. And I'm calling more shops. I'm checking more places. Where else? And now I hop on the road. I hop on the road and I start driving around to different places and start buying different boxes. And then now I'm starting doing what I call my parking lot breaks, where I start, taking pictures of opening these boxes in my car. Stuff. Yeah. So the next box I buy was another baseball box, but it was a 1 of 1 of a rookie George Kittle. I'm like, whoa, a third 1 of 1. This is just insane. This is unbelievable. And then after that, I buy a little box, a rare retail box, and that's where the gold came out of. And at that point, I was already on the road heading to nationals.
I mean, what a story. So you walked into an Arkansas shop 3 hours away from where you're staying, pulled at the Optic black 1 of 1, then pulled another 1 of 1, then hit the road, pulled another 1 of 1, and then pulled the Optic Gold Power 1 of 1 within 48 hours.
Yes. Within 72, because the second day I took a break and then I went back on the next day. And then I was just like, but I showed up to nationals in my car, couldn't get a hotel room anywhere because and so I had my 2 dogs with me. I had 2 puppies with me, one 6 month, one 7 months. So I literally camped in my car for 3 days at the Love's gas station because the only place that had a dog park. So I would drive 20 miles out of town. That would be the first one into the Nationals parking lot where I get the back parking. The Nationals, I find it a lot harder than what I thought it was. I thought I was going to walk in there and be like, ha, I got the card. Who wants to buy it? And people was just going to be ching, 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 right? You hear all these stories. And boy, was it much, much different. It was a lot harder than I thought. People wanted to look at it more than anything else. A lot of kids took pictures of it. A lot of people took pictures of the card. I got it graded at the show at PSA. And a lot of people told me not to do that either. They're like, oh, you're going to get a bad grade, especially at the shows, I was like, no, this is something I want to do. I want to walk in there. I want to grade it at the show. And then I want to go around and talk to different vendors and booths and try and see if I can sell it. So every booth I went to, nobody was interested in buying it. Everybody loved the card, but every person was like, man, whoa, that's just too big for me. Like, I didn't bring that much money. Like, most of them kind of guided me and said, you should take it to the auction. Take it to the auction, you're going to get a lot of money from there, and they have all the connection stuff. So I first went to Golden Auction. I talked to them and they were like ecstatic about the card, but they didn't really know anything about the player. They just knew it was a 1 of 1, and they bounced me around from one guy to the next guy until one guy finally knew a little bit about him. And his offer was fair, so I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll be back." I went to Heritage, same thing. It was almost the exact same offer. They didn't really know anything about the sport. Didn't really know anything about the guy. So then I walked to the back building, and that's when I ran into. I was like, "Wow, look at these guys, man!" All it says they paid 50% up front on the card. I'm like, I wonder if they would know anything about it. And sure enough, he did. He's like, I want to tell you, you got to talk to this guy. And he introduced me to Matt. Right? So I was like, all right, okay, here we go. I'm on the right foot. Right? So
yep.
Matt gave me a fair value on the black. So then I knew at that point I had to show him the gold card. I said, well, I'll tell you what. I showed him a picture. I said, look, I also have this. We could take it to PSA and get it graded, and it'll get a 10. So he kind of spoke a little quick. He's like, well, if you bring me that card, then I'll give you $18,000 cash. I said, you give me $18,000 cash, I'm going to bring you this card tomorrow morning. He said, okay. I said, all right, deal. And then I looked around at everybody. I said, hey, you guys all heard that, right? It came out from his mouth. He said it, right?
I was standing there.
And they're like, yes, come back tomorrow. I was like, okay. So then I came back the next day with both cards. Sure enough, I first thing I saw Matt, and he's like, "Oh, perfect! You came back, yes." And then after that, everybody knew about it. And he was like, "Oh man, the card's here!" And that's how I went down. And they paid me out, and I couldn't believe it, right? And like everybody that I talked to, like every vendor that I went to, that asked me about the cards later on that day, and I said, yeah, man, it's gone. And they're like, oh yeah, but how much did they give you? I said, oh yeah, they gave me $18,000. And they're like, yeah, right. I said, oh, look at it, and I showed them. They're like, damn, that's good, and
hit this Phenom kid who turns into a household name overnight, right before the National, where we're showing up bringing almost $1 million in cash. Like, the stars couldn't have aligned better. You pulled two one-on-ones, walked away with $18K in cash, and you're still going to get paid out on both of them. Like that, it's unbelievable.
It was just one of those things that it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned for me to go to the nationals. I hardly ever sell any cards that I get. I'm one of those collectors that just like to just hold on to my stuff. I would actually call myself a Walmart warrior. You know, like, and then with me just being a guy from Hilo, right? Just being a guy from the Big Island, you know, that can hit this card. And I tell everybody, man, it can happen to anybody at any time, anywhere. 100% of all the proceeds is going to open up. So in the Big Island of Hawaii, we don't have a sports card shop. So everybody in there, I'd have to travel or order it online or enter these breaks and, you know, and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. So we're opening up a card shop on the Big Island in Kona.
So October 1st, you're opening up the card shop with your sons on the Big Island.
I'm getting the building October 1st, and then I'm trying to do it before Christmas. So I definitely have stacks and stacks and stacks of cards that's just piling up here.
You're just getting ready, getting prepared.
Getting ready, yes. Now the true search begins, right?
Yeah.
So now this is this is just, you know, the beginning. You know, not the beginning to the end, but the beginning of another story, right? Another chapter on how my love for the hobby started from me selling the Pokemon, getting back into sports cards, and then now sports cards growing to where, like, man, now I have my own shop. You know, and this all started from a $300 box that I just knew I wouldn't stop. The best next thing is to reinvest this money back into the hobby, and then get in our island. A sports card place where, you know, kids can come and buy their favorite players, and hopefully now the shop can sell the box to somebody that can happen to. You know, that would be exciting.
Cool. Well, we'll be following along, and thank you so much, Kai. It was wonderful to talk to you.